You mentioned Base Chain, which is basically Coinbase has a new layer 2 that they've launched yesterday officially, I think, but it's been in development for a few months. And as part of it, they're sort of partnering with a whole bunch of artists and companies to do what they're calling on-chain summer. So like a different drop every day from now until the end of August.
Really?
Today it's like DK Motion. In a couple of days, like Coca-Cola has a drop. And part of the Coca-Cola drop, it's like they've collaborated with a bunch of emerging artists and a list of like 5 artists that I don't recognize the names of, as well as Munch, Van Gogh, or Van Gogh. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? You're doing an NFT. What does that even mean?
Two Bored Apes talking NFTs, DeFi, and some random stuff. Two Bored Apes talking NFTs, DeFi, and some random stuff.
Welcome to episode 81 of Two Bored Apes. I'm your host, Jamie. I'm here with my friend and co-host, Roy. Roy, how are you?
I'm doing excellent, Jamie. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well as well.
Good.
Thank you for asking, Roy.
Now, Jamie, been about 3 weeks, I think, since we last recorded. Tell us everything that's happened in the NFT space since we last spoke.
Well, I know that Joshua Bagley had a curated drop on Art Blocks, his second one ever. First one was Dreams, which I'm a big fan of. And I know that you sent out a newsletter about some chain called Base. And I'm really scratching the bottom of the barrel or scraping. What do you do to the bottom of a barrel?
Scrape,
You scrape it? I think I'm
Scrape
scraping
bottom.
it already. What else do you think has happened? I think maybe, hold on a second. Damien Hirst has a drop called Where the Land Meets the Sea that came out or is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. That's about it. Oh, Vera Molnar had a drop. I saw that.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Now, what's the floor price of those these days?
I think it's like 5 or 6 ETH.
And what
which
did it
is
mint
a
out
bummer. It is 4.8 at the moment. Minted out around 1-ish ETH. There's still money to be made in this market if you know where to look. And I knew where to look.
The Jackson
I posted
Pollock.
in
Jackson
ZenAcademy.
Pollock.
Oh yeah, Jackson Pollock had something as well. His
He didn't,
studio
but his-
released a collection effectively.
I believe it was like an image of the floor of the studio.
Yeah, floor.
He did that
wall,
crazy
paint
style,
splatter
so
thing.
there was lots of
Yeah,
just
I think
shit
there's a
all over
physical
the floor.
component along with it as well, which is kind of cool. Writing a physical Jackson Pollock
Yeah,
is very cool.
even though again, it's not really a Jackson Pollock, right? It's like
Yeah.
what
Oh,
missed his canvas. They're like calling that
Yeah.
art too,
Yeah.
basically.
you mentioned Base Chain, which is basically Coinbase has a new layer 2 that they've launched, been in development for a few months. And as part of it, they're sort of partnering with a whole bunch of artists and companies to do what they're calling on-chain summer. So like a different drop every day from now until the end of August.
Really?
Today it's like DK Motion. In a couple of days, like Coca-Cola has a drop. And part of the Coca-Cola drop, it's like they've collaborated with a bunch of emerging artists and a list of like 5 artists that I don't recognize the names of, as well as Munch, Van Gogh, or Van Gogh. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? You're doing an NFT. What does that even mean? And I'm very curious now to see what.
Oh, you haven't looked into it more than that.
I think that's kind of the extent of the information that's out so far. But I also haven't looked too deep into it. But yeah, kind of interesting to see what they come up with. And,
Munch is long since dead as well at this point, I believe. Van Gogh, I know for sure. Munch I thought was, but I wasn't sure. But then when you said Van Gogh, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. There's another one. Let me look up real
Let's
quick.
see. Yeah, Munch died in 1944
Yeah.
in Oslo, Norway.
There you go. Vermeer is the other one.
Oh, I like that documentary about him.
Yeah,
Somebody's Vermeer, Paul's Vermeer or something like that.
something like that. It was really good. I like it as well. But yeah, interesting stuff coming out of Base Chain. Been a pretty quiet few weeks, I think, in general. Tim's Vermeer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was sort of like created by Penn from Penn and Teller.
Could be.
No,
Penn
Teller.
Jillette is that guy's name.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One of the two. So that's it, everyone. That's what's happened in the
It's
NFT NFT space. This has been Two Bored Apes, episode 81.
Did you
Yeah,
take
there's
part
been
in any
more.
of this stuff, or you've only been a passive observer in all this time? I've
No, I
sold
mean, I wrote a
couple
newsletter on
things.
the base chain stuff, which I think is kind of interesting. It's sort of like it's
Sorry, tell us
Coinbase's
about it then.
Coinbase's L2, and
You wrote a whole newsletter.
I wrote a whole
So why don't
newsletter.
you give us like 6 minutes or something, or like 3?
6 minutes, Jesus. Basically, it's
Don't
their
worry
attempt
about the
to
minutes.
get. It's their
Don't
attempt
worry
to
about
get.
the minute.
It's their attempt to get more people on chain. So they say that their mission is to like onboard 1 million builders and 1 billion users on chain, which I found interesting because ostensibly Coinbase's entire business model is as a centralized exchange where they custody assets on behalf of people and make money when people transfer and trade and just hold their money on Coinbase.
Right.
And now they're sort of like incentivizing, encouraging, and trying to get people to take their money off of Coinbase into self-custodied wallets, which is, again, interesting. But I think it's great.
I mean, if they can be like the only or one of the only legal,
On-ramps, off-ramps.
bottlenecks, on-ramp or off-ramp. I was thinking of bottleneck because that sort of seems like a two-way thing. But yeah, for people to turn fiat into crypto and vice versa, then, they're happy to just encourage people to be on-chain.
Yeah.
Because ultimately they'll have to go through them to start or to turn that into, regular people money. Now, you said it's a layer 2. That means it's an Ethereum layer 2, I can only
Ethereum
assume.
layer 2. Basically, it's built on the Optimism stack. So Optimism is another L2 that launched a while back, and they open sourced their tech stack. So now anyone can effectively launch their own L2 using the same technology and then take it in whatever direction they want. So Zora, I think, already did it, which is a marketplace and launchpad type of... What are you laughing at?
You said anyone can do it, but I'm trying to imagine your oldest aunt or whatever being like, anyone can do it, and just having...
Theoretically.
The
code is there for anyone to use.
Like, we just celebrated Kayla's grandfather's 92nd birthday yesterday, and the idea of you saying that anyone can do it, just going, Papa, can you just launch a layer 2? Here's the Optimism documents. It's just a very funny thing to imagine. Anyone can do it.
It is easier for anyone to do it than it was a year ago without this stack. Anyway.
Yeah, the information is out there or whatever.
Yeah. There's a bunch of layer 2s that are sort of taking off lately. Optimism being one of them, Arbitrum, Polygon is becoming a layer 2 now as well. And now
Did you say
Base.
Polygon?
Polygon, yeah. I think they used
Wasn't
to be
it
like a
always?
side chain.
It
was
was
not
some weird thing.
It was some weird thing, yeah. But I think now it's becoming like more officially an L2. And it's great. Like, it took me 5 minutes to bridge ETH from mainnet to base, and then I was like minting the things on there, and like within just minutes it was...
Do you bridge it on Coinbase somewhere officially, or
So
is
they have
it still...
they have an official bridge, and then there's unofficial ones, but I use the official
Yeah.
one. I think it's base.org/bridge.base.org is the website. But it says it takes a few minutes to bridge and then 7 days to bridge it back to mainnet. Now, I think like the less official third-party bridges can probably get it done quicker, but yeah, I don't recommend people bridging
why not?
a bunch of money if they need it anytime soon. But yeah, other thing I wanted to say about Base chain. Oh yeah, when long-time listeners will remember towards the end of 2021 and early 2022, a lot of us in the space got very excited by the idea of Coinbase's NFT marketplace. We thought, oh my God, they have 100 million users. You're going to all of a sudden be able to like buy NFTs and pump all our bags. And now obviously they launched their marketplace for like I think Q2 2022.
Super delayed, if I remember correctly,
it was mega delayed.
Which got all the excitement gone from the market by the time it happened.
And it just wasn't a good marketplace. Yeah. It wasn't a good place for anyone to buy, sell, trade. I think the hope was that it was just a really easy way for regular users of Coinbase who had a bunch of ETH or Bitcoin or whatever crypto sitting in their wallet to be like, and now they're just getting marketed JPEGs. And that was the hope, but that everyone was like, hey, now we're going to get a whole bunch of new users in our ecosystem. Obviously didn't work out, but I think that now...
Yeah, and like users who are already predisposed to the notion of crypto, of
already
of
in
blockchain,
the crypto
ledger,
space.
blah, 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 blah. I think targeted advertising in a way.
Yeah.
Very targeted.
I think a lot of what didn't work out well there is working out well with Base Chain, where it's like it's a similar concept where, getting people to buy NFTs is, in essence, well, it was a big question of custody and how Coinbase Marketplace was going to do it, but we were basically trying to get people to move money off the centralized exchange and buy things that we were only doing on-chain, like NFTs and things like that. And this is, I think, bridging that gap a bit and opening the world up to, they have 100 million plus users, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is a lot of users.
100 million? That's an insane number.
It is.
Yeah. I'm just a big fan of Coinbase. I think all they're doing, fighting the SEC and the way that they conduct themselves, I think, they're a very legitimate company doing good for crypto as a whole, I would say.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of people, basically, when we started this podcast and for a lot of the beginning of it, right, that were just very into the not your keys, not your coin, and self-custody above all, and all that stuff, that realized in some respects how fragile all that is and how it's tough to mount a legal defense in a totally decentralized manner. And Coinbase is the most incentivized to really launch a good defense of crypto to the powerful entities that have a say in whether or not it's legal or to what degree it's legal and all that. And also, over the course of time, we saw FTX fall, and we've sort of seen Binance falter, at least lately, I would say.
Yeah.
Which is sort of separating Coinbase from them. And I think a lot of people in the space have a lot more appreciation for Coinbase now than they did previously.
Yeah, for sure.
But their NFT marketplace still was no good.
So bad. BlackRock is also, I think, now incentivized for Coinbase to succeed. They filed for a Bitcoin ETF, and in all likelihood will get it. And as part of that filing, they had to list.
Why do you say in all likelihood they'll get it?
So they've filed for 576 ETFs, and 575 of them have been approved. And so people just
so good track
good odds.
record.
They're pretty good at they're very powerful, and they're pretty good about only filing when they're pretty sure they're going to get it, and yada, yada, yada.
Seemingly, right?
Yeah.
Based on those numbers you're citing.
So, but part of that, they had to name a, I think, US-based company or exchange or something that will sort of help them, handle their business and be their on-ramp, off-ramp, whatever, custody, something solution. And they labeled Coinbase. So now you have BlackRock, arguably the most powerful company in the world, or one of, also wanting Coinbase to succeed.
Yeah, that seems good for Coinbase. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Base 2 thing. And you're saying they're having one art drop a day for the whole month or whatever. Do you have any more information about that? Are the prices, supply, anything like that? I'm kind of curious what they're doing.
Yeah, so I don't know too much. The one coming up later today, August 10th, is the DK Motion one. It's going to be an open edition, and they've said that the price will be very low, very affordable. Now, it's hard to know what that means in crypto talk. It could be $2, it could be $50, but I imagine it's not over $100. Tomorrow we have a Parallel starter deck. So Parallel is like a trading card game, like a sci-fi universe type of game. They've actually got the game out. You can play it now. And so I'm actually keen to buy one of these starter packs and just try the game out. I think theirs is being sold for 0.05 ETH, so around $100.
Very expensive for a pack of cards.
Definitely. I mean, we were spending, was it $40 or $60 in Hearthstone that was a bunch of packs.
Yeah, you're buying 40 packs or 60 packs or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, still spend a lot of money on Hearthstone for sure.
And then there's a whole bunch more I don't know the prices of. Looking at different types, a lot of the drops are from infrastructure providers. So we got Zora, we got Manifold, we got Optimism, Rainbow, OpenSea. So I think they're just sort of putting out a nice piece of art to support the community and do that. So I don't in terms of a speculation perspective and an investment perspective, I I don't think a lot of these things are going to be like, I don't think this is like alpha, like, hey, mint this and, not everyone's sleeping on it. It's like, but potentially one or two of these will do very well. I'm, again, curious about the Coca-Cola drop. But yeah, we'll have more details.
Has there been rumors of a MetaMask airdrop recently? I know that was big a while ago and then it died down. I saw like a newsletter the other day from something I'm subscribed to that was making it seem like it was coming, and then I read more of it and it was just super speculative.
I don't think I've heard anything too concrete. I do know that the company behind Coinbase, I'm blanking on the name, Consensus?
Behind Coinbase?
Behind MetaMask. I heard someone say that they opened up an office in Dubai in the UAE and moved like 100 of their staff members out here, which, if they were heavily US focused, then it would have been very difficult for them to launch a token. But now if they're sort of decentralizing their operations or even moving offshore, it does make it more likely that a token becomes possible. Speaking of token, Coinbase has obviously said with Base, like, there is no plans to launch a network token for the Base chain, yada, 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 which is exactly what you'd expect from Coinbase.
Bridged Ethereum is what you pay gas prices in?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would not be shocked if in 5 years' time there is a native token, if the regulatory landscape opens up and all of a sudden it makes it feasible for them to launch one. I remember Optimism, like when I was first getting into crypto, again in early 2021, I did like a bunch of research and I was looking into L2s and I saw Optimism then, and they were like, we have no plans whatsoever to release a token. And then now here we are, 18 months after that, they had an airdrop that was quite significant and launched a token. So I think that, things change, plans change. And while I'm sure that they have no current plans to launch a token, you never know what's going to happen 5 years from now. And just playing around on this chain for, 30 minutes might mean $5,000 in an airdrop 5 years from now, which is...
There's also a difference between a person or company saying, we're not planning on doing something, and the truth necessarily being that. Not that they're lying, but
No, that's very
people
true.
and companies have been known to say things that are not truthful. That's for sure true. Here's something I just saw. Ethereum turned 8 years old.
Oh yeah, that was a couple of weeks back. Happy birthday, Ethereum! 8 years, kind of crazy.
Not the 92 of Papa, but still pretty good.
When did you first hear about Ethereum?
I don't know, probably 7.5 years ago or something. I feel like I knew about it pretty darn early.
Yeah.
But I don't actually know to be sure.
I remember you talking about it when it was like somewhere between like $7 and $30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't remember. I was going to say, I think when I first got it, it was like $100 and a Bitcoin was like 1,000. It was something like that.
Yeah.
I can't really be sure. But it's been a long time. Certainly, I've been living not in Vegas for 4 or 5 years, and I was definitely in Vegas for it. But real specifically, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
Although I guess I could look at like the oldest addresses I've ever used. If I tried hard, I could probably find that stuff and see like my very first transaction.
I think mine is from like early to mid 2017. I did that a while back.
There's a couple
6 years
crypto bills in the house.
Yeah. Interesting.
There's one called the Financial Innovation and Technology Act for the 21st Century, or FIT 21. And it got through the House Financial Services Committee and the House Committee on Agriculture with bipartisan support. So that's something. And the other key bill is called the Clarity for Payment Stablecoins Act, which would create a regulatory framework for stablecoins, with the Federal Reserve creating a set of rules for their issuance, which probably would not work well for a lot of people in the space so far.
I mean, speaking of stablecoins, though, I don't know if you saw PayPal announced they're launching their own stablecoin.
I did see that, actually.
That is kind of big news. I mean,
they're a big legitimate payment processor.
Users. Yeah. And I think it's like PYUSD. Sort of after it came out, a lot of people sort of found the contract, and there's a lot of FUD because they were like, oh, they can freeze transactions and do all this stuff. But if you look at all the other stablecoins, Circle, Tether, they all have the same things in place and we've seen it happen where the United States government or someone is like, hey, this is a suspected terrorist, please freeze these funds and
the
circle.
tornado cash thing kind of exposed a lot of that kind of thing happening, as I recall.
But again, I'm extremely bullish. PayPal having a stablecoin is just gonna. I mean, it's on Ethereum as well. It's like sometimes in the past we'd see a big company like launch some of their like some big crypto thing, and you're like, hey, that's huge, and it's like, oh, it's on some niche blockchain, or they're launching their own chain, and it just kind of is dead in the water. But this is an ERC20 on Ethereum, which is just awesome to see. So, I don't know. There's just constant good news coming out for crypto, ETH, Bitcoin lately.
This is a bit off topic. What's the lottery situation like in Australia?
I haven't been there in 4 years. I was never much of a lottery play. I'm never a lottery player, so I don't know. We have a lottery. I know that.
There's two big ones in America, and the jackpots have been getting over $1 billion like often lately, which is crazy. But it does make me think, like, if they could somehow get that sort of thing, legally speaking, on chain, or even if it stayed off chain, but you could purchase tickets with on chain money, that might be a very interesting way to get more people into it.
There's a few like there's a bunch of like sites set up where you can like enter lotteries for smaller things, like, you know, buy a ticket and raffle off a Bored Ape or X amount of money. It's a hop, skip, and a jump away from like having a gain traction, and now all of a sudden we have, you know, $100 million lotteries given out on chain, which would be so cool.
That would be cool. And imagine if you win, that would be like double cool.
Be even more cool. Yeah. I heard a cool thing about the lottery in, I think, the UK, where they like make sure that all money raised through the lottery is given back to like non-profits or charitable organizations, or just that kind of thing, rather than the government just taxing and pocketing it and going into a big black hole.
We have some stuff that's not that, but like it's earmarked for certain different parts of the government that are like cooler, rather than, you know, just ending up in some crook's pocket, which we all know a lot of the government's money ends up working that way. I think especially maybe with like the state lotteries specifically, rather than the interstate ones that the whole country takes part in and gets excited about. But like, you know, the individual state ones, it has to go back to the school system and stuff like that.
Sometimes the lottery gets plus EV, right? In the US, it's like profitable to buy tickets.
I don't think the big ones ever do, really. Maybe they do, actually. I haven't done the math or whatever, but I know definitely some of the regional ones occasionally will, because it's just there's a 1 in X chance of winning, and if people get unlucky to not win for enough drawings in a row, and the jackpot just gets bigger, eventually, you have a positive expectation buying a lottery ticket, which is wild.
It is.
And it's also interesting that, like, you know, obviously people are acting irrationally financially as far as lotteries are concerned, but they get like closer to being right because they do get attracted to the bigger prize pools.
I remember back in poker circles, like I knew people that would just buy like tens of thousands of tickets, or at least thousands and thousands of tickets when it became plus EV. And like, let's just buy 5,000 lottery tickets. Why not? Yeah,
it's very much a professional gambler idea. Bryan Cranston starred in a movie about something to that effect. Maybe 3 years ago or something.
I love him. He's a great actor.
What a response. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the movie you're referring to. I know Bryan Cranston. He's great.
Let's see.
I read his autobiography a few years ago, actually. That was a nice read as well.
Jerry and Marge Go Large. Based on a Huffington Post article. Based on a true story.
That's funny. I wonder when we're going to get like based on a tweet, based on a response to a Huffington Post article, based on a
there's
Buzzsprout, based on a yada yada yada, a Reddit post. We already kind of have that, like just general things on the internet is all getting copied. And what you're saying when you were on that road trip, Alicia was like reading, like watching a YouTube video that was reading Reddit posts or something like that.
So there's a streamer called Northern Lion that she's a big fan of. He's a Twitch streamer. He plays a lot of Binding of Isaac, but he also does other stuff. So what we were listening to specifically, he's reading Reddit "Am I the Asshole" posts and just like giving his opinion on whether or not the person's an asshole, what they should have done, all that stuff. And his viewers are eating it up, and now we're just listening to it on the car ride.
And now we're creating a podcast talking about someone who was...
Yeah, no, it's a lot of layers of boring stacked on top of each other for sure.
All right. Speaking of media, I guess, nice segue. I saw
great
Oppenheimer
segue.
last week, and you have not
You said
seen
it was
it
a
yet.
10 out of 10. No, but I have a ticket for this Sunday, so
Very exciting.
I'm excited.
I went in with very high
by the way.
expectations.
10
That's
p.m.
very late.
It's
You'll
a
be done at
3-hour
1
movie.
a.m. Yeah. Have a coffee beforehand.
Good idea.
I went in with high expectations, and I think it met them.
Tell the listeners and myself which Christopher Nolan movies you've seen before this.
I've seen Memento. I've seen Interstellar. I've seen the Dark Knight trilogy. Those are the ones that I know off the top of my head.
Memento, Interstellar, and the trilogy.
Yeah. Is there another? I mean,
there was the one where you go into dreams and stuff. That one was quite big.
oh, Inception. Yeah. I've seen Inception too.
Dunkirk was
Inception.
the other recent one, but sounds like you didn't see that.
Seen Dunkirk. Yeah, but I like.
And you liked basically all of those.
I liked all of those a lot. I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy, amazing. Inception was really good. Memento, I watched because you recommended it a lot, and
I'm a huge
that was a
Memento
great
fan.
movie.
I'm always recommending that.
Yeah. No, I mean, Christopher Nolan, amazing director. And I was like, before going, I like watched a whole bunch of YouTube like interviews and stuff where they're all like doing the marketing tour and talking about the making of the film and all that kind of stuff, and got me even more hyped and excited. And it was cool. Like I love the subject matter. I love the Manhattan Project. I think it's fascinating and interesting. And yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, there's not much to spoil. Like you,
Yeah, it's based on historical events.
Yeah, but it's really well made. I did see sort of after the fact a lot of criticism about, and this is like for all of his movies and also movies in general, like the audio quality and how it can be difficult to hear people. And it's basically because he doesn't like get actors in afterwards and like fix audio.
ADR.
ADR. I didn't really notice it at the time. Like I think it's designed to be like watched and listened in an IMAX theater where you have like 50 speakers around you, and it's pretty good quality. But I think trying to listen to it at home or something, people would probably have struggles.
I think I've heard specifically people complain about Dunkirk and just how the sound was mixed super loud or something in that.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Oppenheimer and noise, while I was in like Vermont a week and a half ago, some of us went to see Oppenheimer, and some of us who are snobs and insisted on only seeing it in IMAX did not. So we went to see Mission Impossible while the rest of the group was going to see Oppenheimer. And while we were in Mission Impossible, they lined up, so it was like they were starting at almost the same time and ending at almost the same time. Just
nice.
One was 15 minutes long and started 50 minutes later, basically. But we're 2 hours and some odd into our movie, and we could distinctly hear the bomb going off in the theater, like 1 or 2 theaters down from the Mission Impossible theater. And we're like, oh, they just saw the exciting part.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I feel like the seats shook. It was tremendously loud. Yeah,
I mean, I guess if you're trying to capture that, right, you can't do it softly.
Yeah.
Although, it's sort of interestingly, did you see the new Star Wars trilogy?
No, I've seen one Star Wars movie, episode 4.
Right. Anyway, in one of the movies, I think it's the second one, which I remember being my least favorite of them. But there's one point where there's like, basically one of the starships from the Rebel squad decides to do it like a kamikaze mission and fly into something at, light speed or whatever. And they made a very interesting decision in the movie to like make it a totally silent 3-second thing or whatever. It was very sort of interesting and dramatic. So I guess that sort of proves that you don't necessarily have to do it, but
Yeah.
probably makes more sense if you're within the Earth's atmosphere or whatever. You want to make it loud.
I mean, sometimes there's the thing where it's like it's silent for like a period, and then the sound comes and it's like
Yeah.
catches up and boom. And
I've heard if you look on the internet, you can find a fair amount of people that are stupid, might be an unkind thing to say, but are under the impression that somehow Christopher Nolan got his hands on an atomic bomb.
oh my god,
And detonated it and recorded it for the movie.
that
which
would be
is
wild.
Hilarious. There's like 9 nuclear powers on Earth, and one of them is Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that might be a very fun game for us. Do you want to try and figure out if we can name every nuclear power on Earth?
Sure.
Okay, go.
USA, Russia, Iran.
Do you want me to look at the list right now, or do you want to work on it together?
We'll
and
work
then
on it
chat?
together, and then we'll look at the
Okay,
list.
USA, Russia.
Iran,
Iran is not. They're
No,
trying,
they're trying to
to,
be.
and
India, is India one?
India and Pakistan both have them.
India, Pakistan, and North Korea is trying. I don't know if they are or not.
Yeah,
It's hard to know.
they're another one that's sort of, but not quite. I think they're much further along though than Iran.
Yeah. Japan.
No, Japan
No.
is like the most for good reason, most anti-nuclear weapon of all countries.
I'm sort of tapped out.
The United Kingdom and France and China, I think, are the other ones.
Oh
and
yeah,
then,
China.
so those are the official ones. And then this is such a weird thing to me, but Israel definitely has them. Everybody on Earth knows that Israel has them, but the official geopolitical global position of Israel and all other countries in the United Nations is like they don't have them. But we all know that they have. It's very peculiar.
That's very weird.
And please don't sue me, country of Israel or whatever, for saying this.
Did we get them? Was that all of them?
Oh, I didn't look it up because you decided you wanted. Let's see.
Well, it sounded like you
Nuclear-
knew.
States. I'm pretty confident of it. Let's see. Okay, so this is interesting. United States, Russia. This is also in order of the amount that we have.
Yeah.
Okay. United States, Russia, United Kingdom, France, China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, and Israel. There you go.
There you go. All right, Barbie. You've seen Barbie?
Israel
How is
is
it?
widely believed to have been the 6th country in the world to develop nuclear weapons, but it has not acknowledged its nuclear forces. Very strange. Yes, I saw Barbie, and I was much more excited to see Oppenheimer
Right.
for the Barbenheimer duo. And now that I've seen Barbie, I find it hard to believe that I'm going to like Oppenheimer more. I was dying laughing at Barbie.
That's amazing.
It was
I'm excited to watch it.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
I have not seen any of Greta Gerwig's other movies. I heard very good things about, Lady Bird, but
And-
never got around to seeing it. But I'm much more interested in seeing it now that I saw this. I was dying laughing. And there's a lot of people are going to hate it. And a lot of people, myself included, are going to love it. But I thought it was so funny.
Yeah. I've heard from multiple people that I think they went in with like mediocre expectations and absolutely loved it, like raving about it. One of the best movies they've seen in a while, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, like I assumed, I think for probably pretty good reason. I guess I didn't watch many of the trailers, which might have disabused me of the notion, I'm not sure, that it was just basically purely a sort of cynical, just commercial thing or whatever, right? Where they're just going, we have some IP, we're going to make a movie out of it. Because we've seen a million of these things, right?
Yeah.
Trolls, and I don't really even need to name them, right? Everything that's a movie these days, practically speaking, is just taking IP from somewhere else and putting it into a movie or remaking existing movies, etc. But it was an interesting social commentary for sure, and they basically used this is funny. How much do you know about Barbies?
The pink dolls or the dolls
so
with a lot of
I
pink.
also knew basically nothing, but
Yeah.
the thing with Barbies is that they made like I'm just going to throw out a number, right? 1,000 different dolls. They're all called Barbie, and they don't look alike. There's like the iconic one that we sort of know of. And so the idea was like anybody can be, Barbie is everybody, this kind of thing, and you can aspire to be. So there's Barbie that's an astronaut, Barbie that's a this, Barbie, they're all Barbie. I did not realize that. I thought like Barbie was the one that we sort of think of as Barbie. And then basically for the guys, it's the same thing, but with Ken. And so they're able to, just talk about gender dynamics in society in an interesting way, using that as sort of the jumping off point.
Nice.
Whereas I thought it was just going to be, it's just a bunch of characters, and Barbie and Ken are the two main ones, but it's like they're all Barbie, they're all Ken, and they're doing some interesting stuff.
I'm excited to watch it as well. They actually delayed the release here in Dubai. There was speculation they were going to ban the whole movie.
I actually was reading a little bit about all that stuff. I think like they were saying Kuwait is like the most strict, and most countries around there follow Saudi Arabia's lead or something to that effect about all this kind of stuff. Like that.
I think like they actually did ban the last Spider-Man movie because there's like a specific flag that's for like I don't know what it was for, but like a multi-gender world or something like that, and they were like, nope, none of that. The transgender flag, I think, is what it was, and they were like, nope, can't have any of that, and ban the whole movie, which is
I saw some other movie that came out sort of recently in this very article that I was reading about this kind of thing. Some movie, the content was like fine, but the star of it identified as trans, so like Kuwait was just like, no, we're not.
Anyway, they have officially cleared Barbie, so I think we'll go watch that soon. I think it might actually come out literally today. The Bear. Jamie, there's this TV show that you will not shut up about, and I think for good reason. What is The Bear? I don't know if we spoke about it last time. And by the way, everyone, this is now a TV show and movie podcast.
Yeah, I guess I'll try not to spend too much time because I kind of think we talked about it last time. But I might have only been 4 episodes in, and now I'm like 12 or whatever, 15. But it's a super high-end Michelin-starred chef whose brother runs just a regular sandwich shop in Chicago, and his brother dies and leaves the sandwich shop to him. And so he just takes it over. So he goes from a 3-star Michelin restaurant to running a sandwich shop. And then it's like he realizes how fucked the business was, and there's a lot of chaos and blah, 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 blah. It actually kind of, when I've described it or tried to describe it in simple terms like that, it doesn't sound that compelling necessarily. Especially if you're not predisposed to really care about like food or whatever, but it's shot really interestingly, and you care about the characters even though like they're all shitheads and stuff like that. I don't know. It's very well done.
Yeah. I mean it's you can take a subject matter that if it's really well, like a documentary or whatever, really well created. I'm thinking of like Jiro Dreams of Sushi, where I've had people who don't care about sushi that much or food, but they watch it and they're like, it's just like one person perfecting a craft, and that is like a universally appealing type of thing. Which one person overcoming adversity or excelling at something and watching their journey is so tailored all this time.
This is in a lot of ways not that. Like it's not. It seems so far at least, right? I still have like 5 more episodes until I'm caught up fully. There's currently 2 seasons out, but it's less about. And I guess this is moderately spoilery, right? But it's not necessarily about him taking this shitty restaurant and just going like, I'm going to turn this into the best sandwich shop ever. It's more about how fucked everything is along the way and him like trying to pull it up, but it's not so far, about just some rocket to success. Cool. Like he quickly finds out that his brother left like $300,000 worth of debt in the... They're selling like $4 sandwiches or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna watch it soon.
Did you say you have access to it? Because it's a Hulu show here.
It's apparently a Disney Plus show here. So I think I don't think we have an active subscription to Disney Plus at the moment, but probably easily get it.
Oh yeah, actually, like Disney, I think owns 33% of Hulu or something, so that actually makes sense. And they try and bundle the 2 of them a lot here.
Yeah. I I'm looking at the list of things you have to talk about. Next up is the Ninja Creamy, which is your fancy new ice cream maker, Jamie. What do you want to share?
It's a fantastic device. I wish that I had bought a different model because the one that I bought, there's no extra pint containers available on the entirety of the internet. So I only have the 2 that it came with, which is completely insufficient. I need like at least 6 of these things.
6 pint containers?
Yes. Because you have to pre-freeze the mixes and then you just run them. It's not that interesting to get into why I needed extra pint containers. I was gonna try and use more words, but I'm not gonna. But I need more. I'm on the note. It says out of order on the website. Sign up to be notified when we're back in stock. So I did that. Hopefully they come back in stock. But I accidentally bought more pint containers for a different version of it because I wasn't looking closely enough. Even though I felt like I was looking pretty close. I put in like NC 200 or whatever. I guess I put in 300 when I was supposed to put in 200, whatever. So yeah, I have other containers that I can store the stuff in, but this is not interesting. You can't actually put it into the machine.
I was hoping you'd tell us like the type of ice cream you made and not your container wars.
Oh, you know what I did? I made cinnamon toast crunch ice cream. That was amazing.
Oh, that sounds good.
Whole milk, sterilized whole milk, and I poured a bunch of cinnamon toast crunch into a container, and then I covered that with the whole milk, and then I just put that in the fridge for like a day, shook it up occasionally a little bit, and then I took that out, strained it, and so that was my base for it. And then I turned that into ice cream, and then they also have like it's just like a cereal bar or whatever, right? Where they basically take cinnamon toast crunch, fuse it together with more fucking sugar, throw some glaze on it, and then so I chop that up into pieces. And on the Ninja Creamy, there's what's called the mix-in setting, right? So you make your ice cream, and then you make a hole in the middle, and then pour in your chocolate chips or whatever the hell you want to mix in, put it back in, and then do the mix-in setting, and it kind of distributes it nice and evenly. So I made the ice cream with that base of the milk, leftover milk, essentially, from the bottom of a Cinnamon Toast Crunch bowl, and then mixed in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch bar chunks. It was so good. I ate the entire pint in one sitting. It was so good.
Oh, man. I love ice cream. I'm very hungry now. Yeah.
You know what's weird? I don't know if you've heard about this, but apparently scientists have like repeatedly found that ice cream consumption is like positively correlated with longevity.
This cannot be true, Jamie.
No, it's like they cannot figure out why, and I think they've done like the obvious stuff where you factor in, the idea that maybe people that can afford ice cream, also have, like, they've taken that stuff out, and for some reason, even though it's just heavy cream and sugar basically in most of them,
big ice cream is doing something to. It's like how for 70 years, everyone said, "Oh, a little bit of alcohol is good for you. 2 glasses of red wine a day."
Yeah, one glass of wine is really good for you.
All the studies are like conclusively being like, nope. Any alcohol is terrible.
Yeah, all the people in my life that love alcohol haven't heard about those new studies, but they're still paranoid to think about one glass of wine a day. No, I don't know what to tell you, Roy. It doesn't make sense. But they're like not even saying that ice cream is good for you. They're just saying we don't understand why this data is acting like ice cream is good for you, because we know it's not, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I thought that was an interesting thing that I came across maybe 3 months ago that I read.
I'm trying to eat well again for the first time. How's
that going?
It's actually going very good. Like, I mean, been good. I've been eating, I love sweet things, even though as much as I like to say I don't love sweet things. So yesterday I ordered like a whole bunch of fruit. I got some mangoes, I got some passion fruit, I got some peaches, and now I'll just snack on fruit.
Passion fruit, I'm sorry. That's the one with like the little green covered seeds or whatever?
Yeah, like greeny yellow
okay,
seeds.
Yep.
I said this yesterday. You cut it in half, you open it up, and it almost looks alien-like. I was like, this is such a weird
In
fruit.
Avatar, they would eat that, you'd say.
Yeah, but it's so delicious. Jamie's dying. Yes, I mean, fruit and fasting and
I'm going to go get something out of my fridge if we're going to talk.
Oh, boy. I was in Thailand, I'll just speak while Jamie's away, last week, and I before going, I really wanted to try durian, but I had sort of food poisoning the entire time, or like almost the entire time I was there, so I just couldn't even fathom stomaching it, which is a shame. Now I've been to Thailand several times and still have never tried durian. I did have some dried mango though, which was delicious snack.
Back.
All right, Jamie, what do you got?
So this is what I went to get. I made more
Pickles.
pickled watermelon rinds. Very delicious. But while I was there, I still have my earbuds in. I heard you talking about durian.
Oh, right.
So I pulled this out of the freezer to show you as well. Fresh.
Is that durian ice cream?
No, it's just chunks of durian.
Oh. Have
I've
you
had
had
it
it
for a long
before?
time, and I've not mustered up the courage to try it yet.
Yeah.
What?
So
I need to wait for a time when Kayla's not home to do it because it's so gross and she doesn't want to be around it. But she's dog sitting for her dad's this weekend, so I might.
there you go. Yeah. There were a few times where we'd be walking down like the street or a market, and I mean, you can smell the durian from a while away, and it just like hits you in the face, and it is not the most appetizing or enticing smell, at least for someone who hasn't acquired that taste or smell. But yeah, apparently like all the hotels, like they ban you from buying and bringing it back to the room because of how much it stinks up the place and how difficult
It's
it is to get the
illegal
smell
to
out
bring it on public transportation in some Southeastern Asian
Yeah.
countries as well, I believe.
It's so wild. And it makes sense. Like it's deadly,
Highly
well, maybe
unpleasant
deadly
to
is the wrong
smell.
word, but yeah, it would ruin the entire, like if you take that on a bus,
What
everyone's going to hate you.
What have you heard as a description of what it tastes like?
I honestly don't even know anymore. Like I certainly heard stuff like a decade plus ago. I was staying, so I was in Thailand about 15 years ago, staying with Harris and a friend of mine, and he bought durian and ate it, and I, for some reason, just didn't. And
What a
I can't
coward.
remember why I didn't or what he said it tasted like.
I
But,
think I remember like a stinky cheese and like an onion as being sort of tasting notes that I've heard.
Oh, that is not what I was expecting.
I'll Google what does durian taste like, and
I
we'll
mean,
see what
I
the
love-
internet says.
Stinky cheese and onions.
Me too.
So, yeah.
So the thing that pops up says it's often described as custardy, and its flavors compared to caramel, vanilla, and even cheesecake.
Yeah, that's very different to stinky cheese and onion.
It is. Maybe
That is more along
this-
what I had in my mind. Like I thought it was sweet, but again, had very little actual flavor reference. Maybe the smell is like a stinky cheese onion, but the taste is
Right,
like
but-
the caramel cheesecake.
But isn't like taste 70% smell or whatever?
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Now I'm looking at a Reddit post here. I'm eating a durian, tastes like sugared onion pudding. It has a strong musty smell and tastes sweet with an onion-like flavor. So if you type in durian onion on the internet, you'll find people that agree with me
Well, I mean,
or agree with
this
what I've
time
heard
next
or
week,
whatever.
perhaps you could have tried, and we'll be able to report back.
I just had a really good idea. Next episode, live durian tasting.
That would be great.
Done.
Look
If
at
we
it.
had more foresight, we could have done it for this one, but it's fucking frozen.
What else do we have? Me losing at chess. Yeah, Jamie is like, you've gotten good at chess, or better at chess, significantly better.
I've gotten
at
better
chess.
at chess. I've certainly not gotten good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, our games are like just genuinely close now, which is awesome. That's where you want it to be. Chess is
Yeah.
way less fun when one person is just way better than the other. So
It's sort of kind of still fun for the person that's better, I think.
yeah, it's all
It's
right.
not as compelling, but it is fun to just fucking trash some person. At least I still enjoy it, at least.
Yeah. That's that. I got The Last Kingdom / Vikings on here. Have you seen the TV show Vikings?
I have not.
Okay.
I
How
know
much you know about the Vikings?
the people.
Yeah.
Well, the most recent episode of Hardcore History, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, arguably my favorite podcast, was about Vikings. And that's basically the extent of my knowledge of them. So I have like 5.5 hours of podcast knowledge about them, which is, you know, if it was more close to when I had first listened to it, I'd probably have a better answer for you about how much I know. But I have a rough idea where they're from and what their time period was, and sort of like why they were doing what they did and stuff like that. The podcast episode was sort of a lot about how like the church was really starting to encroach towards their territory. And so from the perspective of the Vikings, who, are traditionally portrayed as sort of aggressive raiders, he was sort of saying that from their perspective, it was a lot more of a defensive thing, trying to be able to maintain their sort of social identity and all of that stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Rachel and I just got done watching a TV show called The Last Kingdom, which is pretty much all about the Vikings.
Heard of that one, I think.
And
in England or something, right? Maybe?
Yeah, it's like there's this long drawn out war or ongoing series of wars and battles between the English and the Vikings, or the Saxons and the Vikings.
Right.
And so much of it boiled down to like their religious beliefs, whether the English believed in one god and the Vikings believed in their set of gods, and they could reconcile, and they were always raiding and going back and forth. And found it fantastic. It was just a very interesting show. And then now I've just started watching Vikings as well, which is very similar, I think, in subject matter. But it is just cool to watch in a fascinating time period.
One of the crazy things that Dan mentioned is that, like, so, one of the big things that's popular in maybe all religions, right? But Christianity for sure is, especially early on, right? Is you'd have like just people that would go to people that weren't exposed to the religion, and you go and you just tell them that their shit is wrong and this is the truth, right? So they would go to these, Viking communities essentially, who had a sort of more old-fashioned, for lack of a better word, religion. And so they would have like a tree, and this tree is like extremely sacred. It's a centuries-old tree that means so much spiritually to these people. And the monk would just go over there and just fucking chop this down and be like, this is bullshit, you guys need to follow. And then, like, obviously a lot of these monks would just end up getting beheaded. Yeah. And then the Christians would go, oh my God, these fucking barbarians, and that kind of thing. Well, the balls on that fucking monk, though.
Right. Yeah, I remember he thought he was like literally doing God's work.
Literally doing the Lord's work, yeah.
And literally going to heaven right after. That's the other thing, like the Vikings, especially their belief in like Valhalla and dying if you die in battle and an honorable death, then you go to Valhalla, which is amazing. Is like it sort of makes sense why they're perceived as like battle hungry or something like that, because they literally wanted to die in battle.
Yeah,
which is a crazy mindset. Like I sometimes think about putting myself in.
Well,
I mean,
what are the other
position.
Options? Like just dying of a random infection or starvation? Like back in the day, there was not that many cool ways to die.
That's very true.
And they're probably a lot more drawn out and terrible for the most part, aside from the battlefield deaths.
Man, we are lucky to live when we live. Like
we are.
We are very good.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, I just got finished reading Tuesdays with Maury. Have you read it?
I have not. I've heard of it. Certainly a classic. Maury's like an old person.
Yeah, he's
and
like
every
a 70
Tuesday this person would go visit them.
Yeah, so he's like a 70-year-old college professor who gets ALS, and one of his old students basically gets back in touch with him, and then every Tuesday would go meet him and sit and talk, and basically the old guy just imparting life lessons and wisdom, and it's turned into a book.
The old guy Maury. It's fictional or not?
What's that, sorry?
Fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction. No, it's based on true story. Actually, he was on, I think, Nightline or one of the TV shows in America. Ted Koppel is mentioned a bunch of times in the book about going to his house, interviewing him, and he sort of like became like this mini celebrity in the US in the late 90s, I think it was.
Maury or the person who visited?
Maury.
Okay.
And then, the guy, Mitch, who went and sat with him, basically took a tape recorder and recorded the meetings. And it was Maury's idea. He's like, hey, why don't we turn this into a book? And it's a very, very good book. Very easy read as well. It's like, it's short and I think 3 hours you can probably get through the whole book, which is always fun.
Nice.
I think that's about it. Anything else?
That is about it, isn't it?
Yeah. What, should we play What Am I Thinking?
Yes, we should.
I'm ready.
I am as well. 3, 2, 1. Zipper. Sunflower and zipper. Sunflower and zipper.
All the thinking. How nice are these?
Those are nice.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to leave the room again to go show you some flowers that I picked from my garden, but I'm not going to do that.
Sunflower and zipper.
I'm ready.
Sure.
3, 2, 1. Clothing. That's kind of what the hell. Okay. Oh, God. Knocks one of my earbuds out. Okay, we got clothing and hoodie. By the way, I almost went with seeds, and that would have had us much farther away. Seeds and hoodie. Clothing and hoodie, though. I got an answer, I think.
Sure.
3, 2, 1. Sweatshirt.
Jacket. Oh, I almost said sweatshirt. That was last second I changed.
Jacket and sweatshirt.
Jacket and sweatshirt. Okay.
And sweatshirt. 3, 2, 1. Coat.
T-shirt.
T-shirt and coat. T-shirt and coat.
You know,
okay, I guess I got another word.
I don't yet. Hang on. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Rain
Sweater.
jacket.
Rain jacket and sweater.
Okay, I got one.
I wish I knew exactly what we've already said, because now we're getting to the point where all the best answers are stuff we've already said.
Yeah.
Rain jacket and sweater. Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Slicker.
Slicker?
Yeah, it's like a synonym that some people use for rain jacket. A rain slicker.
God. So slicker and warmth. Okay, I got one.
That was fast.
As an obvious one, Jamie.
Is there?
I think so.
Okay, whatever. This is not going to work. 3, 2, 1. Friction. Dry and friction.
Yeah.
Dry and friction. Okay. We got something.
Sure.
3, 2, 1. Kindling.
Surface tension.
Kindling and surface tension.
Okay,
I did not think you were going to say that.
that.
I need a new desk. This desk is all dinged up at this point. Kindling and surface tension. What the fuck? Okay, whatever. 3, 2, 1.
Fire.
Flint and fire.
Okay, I got one.
3, 2, 1. Spark.
God.
I was going to say combustion, and I did a last minute change. Nice.
Combustion. Come on. Spark was good. Spark was good.
All right.
Okay. I guess we'll do a giveaway. Spark is the answer. SPARK. Jamie is dropping things left, right, and center. This has been episode 81.
Thank you for listening. Please donate blood.
Yep, someone did.
I know, I saw that. That was exciting. They were talking about it in our Discord.
Yeah.
Talk to us on our Discord. We like hearing from fans. Watch The Bear.
Yep.
Watch Barbie.
Watch Oppenheimer.
If you want. Watch Oppenheimer.
Be a good person. Drink water. I think people don't drink enough water. Like, you should drink a lot of water. Yeah.
Yeah, water's good for you.
Get yourself a big water bottle.
We're going to end this podcast with 10 seconds of us just silently drinking water. Ready? All right. This podcast will end in 10 seconds. Ready, set, go. The end.